Hey guys, Scott Fishman here for Wrestling Inc. Today we have a great treat for you guys. Coming off the season premiere, I should say, of the new season of American Idol, I thought when I saw James Durbin on the show making a cameo, I just was like, wow, what has he been up to? I mean, it's been 10 years since American Idol, but I also remember seeing him actually at a WrestleMania party went down in Miami in South Florida. So it got me thinking, we need to connect and see what he's been up to. So and talk about, him being a wrestling fan and things like that. So, James, thanks so much for joining us today.
Absolutely, Scott. Good to see you again.
So, tell me, we like to bring guests on here to kind of talk about their fandom for pro wrestling. Tell me, kind of, when you look back, what was kind of the moment or match or experience that kind of made you a fan?
Well, I was always aware of it, like growing up, born in '89, and then going to not middle school, elementary school, in the early and mid '90s. Like I always remember kids wearing, Austin 316 shirts, and knew that there was a distinct difference between WWF and WCW and ECW even. But I didn't actually get into it until the brand change, until they got the F out. And
Literally.
I can't literally, I think maybe 2000. Oh man, when was it? 2002 or 2003 was when I really got into it. And the first match I remember seeing after school was Monday Night Raw. And it was Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam in a ladder match for the Intercontinental title. And put that on. It was just like, oh, this is for me. This is made for me. And I just latched onto it immediately, like seeing these guys that were, taking their individualities and that was their character. Seeing a guy like Jeff Hardy, but especially a guy like Rob Van Dam, like, because I guess I don't know if at that time I had the bad Steven Seagal ponytail myself. I would later have it. I think maybe it was around that time. But just, like being that kind of kid that was super into Japan for some reason and loved yin yangs and, and then seeing RVD with the singlets and just like the airbrush singlets and the 5-star frog splash and all that. So like really latched onto him and Jericho and Undertaker. And I just got super, super addicted.
So tell me about, I mean, after your fandom, of course, you want to go to wrestling shows. I mean, do you have, is there like, what was your first wrestling show? What was that experience like? Because seeing it on TV and then being there in person, a whole different experience.
Definitely. My first wrestling show was, it was No Way Out in 2004, I believe, at the Cow Palace in San Francisco, where Eddie Guerrero won the
Wow.
WWE Championship and defeat Brock Lesnar.
That is quite a first show to experience. I mean, the crowd was
Yeah,
electric there.
that was absolutely crazy. I remember we got there late because the some like it was very much a story that had to involve wrestling in it at some point. I went with a group, my sister's friends, and they were big into wrestling, but they had to finish watching some NASCAR event beforehand.
Oh,
And so it was
priorities.
NASCAR and wrestling. And we piled in the back of their hoopty and headed off to San Francisco. And I was really bummed out because we missed like a good portion of the show we missed.
Oh,
But I remember because I would collect tapes and I would collect DVDs. And I remember I got the DVD release of No Way Out when it came out so I could see the other matches. And then I remember I had like the first Xbox. It had like this like DVD remote because it was a DVD player. So I'd play it on there and you could pause it and you could zoom in into the picture.
and you found
And
yourself?
I definitely found myself, yeah, because I had a
Right.
sign, like a bright orange sign that said that Brock fears Eddie, and I found myself through that sign and my NWO Wolfpack Scott Hall and Kevin Nash sleeveless
Oh,
red shirt. Yeah.
nice. So everyone can go to the network and try to find you, I guess.
Yeah, I've gone. Yeah, if you have a capability of zooming in, we were pretty far up in the nosebleeds, but nevertheless, it was fully there. And then after that, I caught a couple super shows that came through San Jose, um, and my friends and I would go hang out around the wall like the barricade wall that separates the top part from the parking area, and be like, oh, I just saw Rey Mysterio without his mask on. It's just funny, like these things that like you pop for, and then years later, like you said, being in Miami for WrestleMania weekend, WrestleMania 28, I believe, and being there, and like I was involved with the Be a Star campaign with WWE, and I remember being at an event, and Ray was there. It's just before I got my Rey Mysterio tattoo, but he was there.
That. Where's that? Wait, where's that Rey Mysterio tattoo?
Yeah, so the Ray tattoo is.
Wow, that's nice.
Right,
that's legit.
It's a Lady Guadalupe, not Lady Guadalupe. It's Lady Guadalupe.
Did you have the tattoo when you met him?
I didn't know. It was like right before.
Okay, go ahead with your story. I just had to see it while you're.
Yeah. But we were there and we were talking, and he's like, "Hey James, you want to get a picture?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, Ray, that'd be great." And then so we take a picture, and then he's like, "Hey, take another one. Here, let me take this thing off." He takes his mask off. I'm just like, be cool. Don't be a mark.
Yeah.
Like, I was just thinking, like, he looks like Pitbull. Whoa, he looks like a lot like Pitbull. He looks like Pitbull, like a buff, like a thick Pitbull. But it was crazy, just like these moments in adolescence growing up, and being such a mark, self-professed mark, and loving Jericho, for instance. And then during Idol, he was on Dancing with the Stars that filmed in the same studio, and then we became friends. We've been friends for 10 years. So it's like trippy stuff like that.
So that's a bond that you guys started there. Okay. Because I think I have a photo somewhere where I'm actually in the middle with you two just hanging out. And then, so that's a cool experience to kind of see how that bond between the two of you came together. Speaking of that whole experience with American Idol now, like when you look back, it's incredible to think that it's 10 years ago. But when you were, everyone kind of found out you were a wrestling fan. I mean, what kind of reaction did you get? Do you think that kind of helped you in the process of getting votes? Because, that's a big fan base, a dedicated fan base. So when they find out someone's a wrestling fan, or they want to latch on to whoever, that's one of us, basically.
Yeah, I guess so. I never saw any of the numbers, but I can only imagine, and just being a fan of WWE's product at the time, like and getting that opportunity to work with them, and I got to like songwrite with Jim Johnston, and we didn't end up really writing any songs. We ended up just like sitting there, and him being like, well, when I was writing Randy Orton's theme song, it was like this. And when I was writing The Undertaker's theme song, it was like this. And that was crazy. Be like, whose song do you want to hear about? How about Mordecai? Oh yeah, that's a deep cut. But yeah, maybe got some extra fans through it. Like when Hulk Hogan came out and told me that I was going through, myself and my buddy Paul McDonald, that was also on Idol, and like Ryan Seacrest is there, and he's like, both of you guys had a great night last night, and this is the results show, and they were like, okay, but both of you are not safe. We're like, excuse me? I mean, really not safe. And then you hear dun 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 dun, and these like the doors open up, and then you just see like and I thought at first like it looked like somebody had like a string. I could have sworn someone was just like wearing like a fake mustache or something. But then the lights come up on him, and it's just like, huh? This was before he got canceled.
Yeah, he was working for Impact, I think.
Yeah, he was.
I remember being Impact, like, why isn't he wearing an Impact? I think that was a perfect opportunity to advertise, but that's another story. But I
got his shirt. He gave me a shirt that he ripped off.
Wow. You have it still.
Okay. Yeah, and it is an Impact. It says Impact on it.
Okay. Probably in the back.
At the time, it was still TNA. It was still TNA.
Yeah, TNA, right? But you legit didn't. You had no idea he was there or anything.
No, I had no idea because, well, I had a hunch that Idol would be getting somebody to do something, because we were doing like a wrestling segment at the Idol Mansion. We set up a bunch of pillows, and I'm suplexing the little guys in the house, and and they had me do like a few liners to be like, eat your heart out, The Miz, eat your heart out, John Cena, eat your heart out, Rock, eat your heart out, Hulk Hogan. So, I guess they were just
Were
making
you
sure
happy
they had
he's the
all
one
their
that showed
bases
up out of
covered.
the group?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jimmy Hart, let it happen.
Nice.
Yeah.
So beyond that, tell me about, I mean, you mentioned Jim Johnston, which was really cool to be able to collaborate. Is there something that we can listen to, or is it something that just for you guys that you were just playing around with that day and just coming up with different ideas? And
Yeah, well, I got set up. It's really interesting how everything happened. The record label that I was with at the time was called Wind Up Records, and they were based in New York. And they had started a working relationship with WWE to start to write some music for them, and like superstar entrance music. And the guys that headed up that section, I'm trying to remember both of their names right now. It's Michael Laurie, and I can't remember the other guy's name. But they ended up being CFOs, the guys that would later go on to write, Shinsuke Nakamura's theme and Kevin Owens' theme, and everybody whose theme sounds like it was written recently. So yeah, they ended up. That was the team that I was working with over at Wind Up for songwriting and producing and stuff. And Wind Up ended up setting up something for me to take the train from New York to Stanford. And I went up to Stanford. I went to WWE HQ, and they had a studio there, and that's where I met with Jim. And it was like, I think they set it up as like an opportunity for us to write, but they also know what kind of mind Jim's is. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Jim's is like a mind after meeting with him. And this isn't like a knock at all. This is like, if what you have works for you, that's, if you work so great on your own, it's why write with other people? So it was kind of like our writing session wasn't really getting anywhere. So it just kind of turned into a show and tell of sorts, which was amazing, which I couldn't have asked for a better experience. And I'm much happier that it turned into that than, sitting there and trying to force out a crappy song. Because I'm the same way. Like I can write. I wrote my whole brand new album, The Beast Awakens. I wrote that all by myself. So it's like, why try to force something if it's not working? And but yeah, that was really something, getting to sit there and write with him, and just like for the little bit of time that we attempted to write, it was interesting to see his method, if you will. Mm-hmm. But yeah, wrestling has popped up in other songwriting ways. I was writing and recording a demo song with Mark Tremonti from formerly of Creed, guitar player from Alter Bridge, and his own Tremonti stuff. And I was writing with him in Florida, and I was at his house, and we started talking. We got on the subject of wrestling, and he was like, "Oh, Durbin, you like wrestling? Oh, hold on, I'll be right back." And I actually just found the picture, going through pictures on my phone, of Mark Tremonti bought a ring-worn Macho Man Randy Savage jacket. Nice. And while I was recording the demo, I got to wear it. So that was pretty sweet.
Wow, I figured that would be in a frame somewhere.
Yeah, I've got these random, I mean, it's at the time where, cell phone cameras were not as good of quality as they are now. So it's really grainy, and it's kind of tough to make out. But yeah, I know what it is as soon as I see it.
You mentioned being having a friendship with Chris Jericho, whose band Fozzy really has exploded even in the last couple of years. Have you guys collaborated or talked about collaborating at all? And then just kind of what do you make of his success within the rock world?
Yeah, his success is great. And I was a fan of Fozzy for, growing up. And I remember the YJ, or what was it? YJ Stinger or something Stinger from Stacker 2. Remember, like they had the commercials. This is a YJ Stinger straight from Stacker 2. Cena rapped to one, and Jericho, they reworked one of their songs. Don't You Wish You Were Me? I think it was. The king of everything, and don't you wish you were me? Back then, and then I remember there was something else that they did, where I think they did like a battle of the bands or something. Fozzy played and somebody else played. But yeah, so I mean, on my new album, The Beast Awakens, new band is Durbin. The album's The Beast Awakens, and one of the first single that we put out last November is called Kings Before You, and it features Chris Jericho on guest vocals, as well as Phil Demmel, formerly of Machine Head, on lead guitar. So I had always wanted to do something musically with Chris, and last time I went and saw Fozzy in San Francisco, and ended up getting on stage with them and doing AC/DC's, what did we do, TNT, and kept in touch with, that's where I met Phil Demmel also, and kept in touch with him through that. And then I was writing songs for this album and reached out to Chris and was like, hey dude, if you were to hypothetically sing on a heavy metal, like a classic heavy metal Dungeons and Dragons kind of concept album, what kind of character would you want to play? And he's like, well, definitely the villain, but if no villain roles were available, I'd have to say a wizard. And I was like, dude, I just wrote a wizard song. It's in your inbox.
Meant to be.
Yeah, and he listened to it and he loved it, and it was great. Yeah, really, really worked out.
Okay. If like when you look at I mean, are you still watching right now? Or are you still kind of involved in? I mean, as a fan, or have you kind of just tuned out a little bit since in the years since?
Over the years, I've tuned out a lot more. I mean, I have kids and 11 and a half year old, and a almost 6.5 year old, and so. And I don't have cable, so just kind of I usually catch like highlight videos on YouTube and that sort of thing, and I've been checking out AEW, and a couple of years ago I got into watching Being the Elite, and I've tuned out of that for the most part. I was in it for a lot of the what was that guy's name who was also canceled? I guess it doesn't matter. But just watching those videos quite a bit on tour, it was fun. Like it was like finding comfort watching BTE videos while on tour, watching these guys on tour also. And so yeah, I watch AEW from time to time, highlight videos, and kind of keep up loosely on the WWE product and NXT, and even more farther loosely with just I follow who I like. I enjoy the Good Brothers. I enjoy Gallows and Anderson's debauchery, and I'm more in it for the Good Brothers. Listening to their podcast, The Talking Shop. And
have you watched Talking Shop Mania yet?
I watched again. I watched a couple highlights, but
okay.
It's yeah. So from what I've seen, it's a show that is great. But they found their stride.
Oh, for sure. If you could do an entrance music for any wrestler, I mean, past or present, who would it be? I mean,
I think Baron Corbin needs some new music. I think I've thought Dolph Ziggler needs some new music for a long time, especially in the last few years that he's been in his Motley Crue mode. I think he needs something with a little bit more drive.
All right.
But let's see, who else? I don't know. I'm not really sure. I've definitely thought about it, and I think some of my songs off the new album could definitely work as entrance music.
Yeah, people can definitely check it out. The Beast Awakens. You touched on it now. Writing in all your music, it's incredible. If you want to let people know, I know you have a website as well. If you want to just kind of let people know where to find you right now.
Yeah, definitely. Website is jamesdurbinofficial.com. It's Durbin, Durbin. And that's same with Instagram is at James Durbin Official. And if you want to check out the new album from the band Durbin, The Beast Awakens, the link is in my bio on Instagram. Other than that, Facebook is facebook.com/Durbin Rock, the only verified James Durbin on Facebook, and as well as Twitter, James at Durbin Rock. Those are all
Awesome.
the same. Yeah.
And before I let you go, I was just really inspired by the audition for Manali List this past week on American Idol. I mean, kind of what does it mean for you to kind of have your experience and your story and what you've overcome, and kind of not just in the music industry, but, you know, across the board? How does that make you feel that after all these years, you're still made an impact?
That's like makes it all worthwhile. You know, if something that you do can have that kind of impact on somebody's life and the trajectory in which they take their life and their dreams, despite what a diagnosis has said that they are limited to or not to do, it's like, whoa. It's like gratitude city. You know, I really am have been really, really thankful and appreciative, and have always been for my time on Idol, and never bad talk it or anything. Like, it gave me the opportunity to continue to do what I'm doing, even 10 years later, you know, in similar at a similar magnitude. And to know that a little kid watching the show, a 10-year-old girl watching the show, could have, you know, put some inspiration into her life of, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's all I wanted when I was that age. I cried countless nights growing up that, like, show me somebody that can do it. Show me somebody that is just unabashedly unashamed to be themselves and live their dreams despite them being themselves, you know. And I think she has the talent and the drive and you know, the humble, you know, thing the thing that you need in order to succeed. You know, she's got everything to she's got it. So we're watching and wish her all the best. And
Awesome.
yeah, we've definitely put that out there that if she needs us and needs support, she's got it here.